There we go in here shortly. Oh yeah. They're like Grandpa Jones on the E-Haul. Wear it out, there won't be any window there.
Grandpa Jones.
I haven't seen that for a long time.
I know, I was a little kid. That's just great. They still show old episodes of that.
TV.
Do they?
Yeah.
Of course you can YouTube it.
Oh yeah, you can YouTube anything. When I was doing scouting on the sales, because we'd never seen them before, I pulled up some video on them on YouTube.
Yeah, you can. They're going to run what they run.
Yep.
You just got a matter of stopping. It's kind of like Massey, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a good thing.
You know what's coming. You just got to be ready.
It's just a matter of stopping.
And I think we are live on gtvr.net, and this is the SCOL Coaches Show. Apologize for being on a little late this morning, but nevertheless, we are going, and we're going to get right into the program. And I have as my special guest right now, Coach Corey Dye of the Washington Courthouse.
About doing this.
It's great to have you, and you were telling me you were kind of a hometown guy here at Courthouse.
Yeah, there's no kind about it. I mean, I grew up here, went to high school here, played sports here. I teach here now. I'm back home, so I've been here for 14 years. So after college, so I've been teaching for 14 years, been coaching for 14 years. It's my 5th year as head coach. So, yep, I'm a hometown boy.
You can pretty much say blue and white is in your blood.
Blue and white is definitely.
So, how long have you said you've been coaching? 14 years. Have you been involved in other parts of the coaching, or a head coach, or how did you get involved in coaching?
And even was a head freshman girls coach and a head junior high coach. So, that experience alone has really helped me prepare and get ready to be the head coach for football.
So you've had athletics in your blood all along.
Oh yeah. I mean, growing up, I was a 3-sport athlete. I got an older sister and older brother. They're both athletes. So, it's just kind of in our blood.
Great. In football, growing up, what did you do as far as playing football?
Position-wise, I was a running back. I was a running back for the Blue Lions. I started 3 years and played linebacker. And then I was pretty fortunate enough to go on and play college football at Muskingum College, and was able to play for Jeff Haycock. And it was a great experience. I played outside linebacker in college and got to start 4 years. So it was a nice experience.
Where did you go to college at again?
Muskingum College. Yep, in New Concord.
Yeah.
So, home of John Glenn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you had a big win last night over tough Greenfield squad.
Yeah, we sure did. Coming off our loss last week, which was a devastating loss. I mean, anytime you get beat by that large of a margin, it's you got to be concerned about your players. And I was really concerned, last weekend, last Friday night, and even Saturday, about how our kids were going to be able to handle such a big loss. And our kids responded well. They showed up Monday. They were ready to go, and obviously it paid off for us.
A lot of it has to do with attitude, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, it just goes to show high school sports, kids are resilient, and they're able to bounce pretty quick. And our kids, like I told them when we got off the bus Friday, move forward. And we still got a lot of football to play, and we still got a lot to play for, so we can't let one loss get us down.
Right. Tell us about some of the kids on your team.
Okay. I've got a pretty young team. We've dealt with a lot of adversity this season. We had a large tackle not play this year. We've had 2 starters who've had surgery, and they're out for the season early. One being Cole Massey. He blew his ACL just in practice, just kind of a freak thing. And it's unfortunate, but you got to keep playing. You still got to field a team, and we're very young up front. We start mostly sophomores with the offensive line. Our running back Ty Smith, he's a exceptional running back. Last year he had 1,300 yards and 26 touchdowns, and this year he's on pace to do about the same. And we got an exceptional quarterback. He's got a good arm. He's a 3-year starter for us, Josh Williams. He does a nice job controlling our offense and really taking charge. And then I got several other young guys. We've got a couple receivers, Alex Sparkman, Malik Pettiford, and Kyle Garrett in the backfield. So the future is definitely bright for the Blue Lions. We've got a lot of returning starters on offense, and same thing on defense. I mean, we're starting. If you look at my starting lineup, it consists of mostly juniors and sophomores. So, we're taking our lumps this year. There's a lot of learning going on, but I'm really excited about finishing up this year and doing what we can do, and really excited about next season too. So.
Well, great. It looks like we're kind of getting back to what the old SCOL was a long time ago, when you had Wilmington, Courthouse, and Trace, and some of those teams in it, and it can be exciting football any Friday night.
Brother, he's 6 years older than me, and actually the water boy for when he played, and just watching them go out and compete in SCOL was exciting. I mean, you had to show up every week, and we're just about there. Once Wilmington joins the league next year, then I think a lot of people will be noticing how tough and how competitive the SCOL team is, in comparison to some of the other leagues in the state. So
I can remember several, even though I wasn't in Wilmington schools, I can remember Friday nights when it'd be Wilmington versus Trace or Wilmington versus Courthouse.
Yeah.
That whole week prior was a big week for any school involved.
Oh, sure. I mean, Clinton Massey really put last year. Winning the state title, any title. People, I go up there at the state championship every year, and you look and you see what conference they're from. And, I think a lot of people in Northern Ohio especially, they don't really know what the SCOL is about. But I think Clinton Massey proved that last year that we're one tough league, and we're going to be competitive from here on out, so for many years.
If you could describe the style of the SCOL, how would you describe it?
Physical, tough, speed. We got a lot of talent. I mean, there's a lot of talent in the SCOL. I mean, back in trying to think, back in the 70s, late 70s, the SCOL had never been tougher. I mean, we had, I believe, like 4 or 5 Big Ten players that played in that time. Yeah. You know, with Art Schleester, Glenn Cobb, and Greg Nard. You know, remember how good he was? Sure. I mean, he ended up playing at Maryland. I mean, that was just an unbelievable time, an unbelievable period. There's like a 10-year span where I think we're getting closer and closer to that. We're going to have a lot of kids that go on and play in front of large crowds and be part of something really special. So it's exciting.
I think there is a lot of excitement to come in the SCOL, and a lot of excitement this year already.
Oh, I mean, that they can hang with the big dogs with Clinton Massey, and it was a hard-fought game last night. From what I read, it looked like they gave Clinton Massey everything they had. So, it's one of those things where when you can get teams that are competitive year in or week in and week out. I mean, it's just going to make your program so much better. Sure. And that's what you want. Everybody takes pride in their conference, and I'm definitely proud to say that I'm coaching in the SOL.
Well, great. You've of course got a tough week coming up this week here at home. It'll be your home crowd, and I'm sure Massey's going to bring a lot of fans with them, and so you're going to be tested this week.
Oh yeah, I mean, Clinton Massey, they're going to be basically king in our league until somebody knocks them off the throne, and we've got a tough mountain to climb, and our kids know that, and we haven't had a whole lot of success other than 2007 when we beat them, so it's been a long time, but it's our last game for our seniors to play at home. We unfortunately only had 4 home games this season. So our kids are going to be excited for the challenge. They're going to be up for it.
From a scouting standpoint, what we kind of know what Clinton Massey does. They just come at you with a big-time running game. And how do you think you can stop the running game?
Clinton Massey's going to do what Clinton Massey does. I mean, there's no surprises. I mean, he's not going to do anything different. He's going to line up and just play smash mouth football. I mean, his kids are trained like that. They're pretty impressive, specimens out on the field. You can tell they've got the job done in the weight room. I think a lot of those kids go to that Wilmington Elite program that builds strength and quickness in the kids, and it really shows out on the field. So I don't think it's a matter of stopping them. It's a matter of just controlling them, not letting them hit the big play on you. Right. And, they're going to run the ball, which when you run the football, it's going to keep the clock going. And you try to shorten the game up as much as you can, and you just hope that in the fourth quarter you're still in the game, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. All you can hope for is give yourself a chance at the end of the game.
That's it. That's exactly right.
Coach Dye, it's been a pleasure having you here. Sorry about the delay, but as you and I talked, this is a great place to eat, so you can't go wrong at the Rusty Keg here in Courthouse.
Oh, you sure can. I mean, I've had just about everything on this menu, and it's definitely a great place to eat. So. Thank
you very much, and best of luck this coming week. We'll see you at the game.
Okay. All right.
Coach Corey Dye of the Washington Courthouse Blue Lions as they'll take on the Clinton Massey Falcons here in Courthouse. So, best of luck, Coach.
All right, thank you.
All right. All right. Thanks a lot. Get something good to eat.
Yeah, I plan on doing that.
All right. All right. Well, here in just a moment, we're going to welcome in Coach Raybeck of the East Clinton Astros. So, Coach Raybeck will be over here with us in just a moment. They had an exciting victory and a great victory last night at home. We had that game for you as they defeated Hillsborough 27-7. So that was an exciting victory for East Clinton. Had that, as I said, had that game for you. And as soon as Coach Raybeck and Coach Dye get done talking, we'll have him on. And next week, as I said, next Friday night, we'll have the Washington Courthouse Blue Lions versus the Clinton Massey Falcons at Washington Courthouse, right here at Courthouse. So you don't want to miss that game. I want to thank everybody who's watching this morning. Sorry about the delay. And Coach Rebeck, anytime you're ready, we'll get you on here. I know you're getting anxious to get something to eat up here, Coach.
I'm always anxious.
That's right. And this is a great victory for you last night.
Thank you. Good stuff. And came up fortunate to do that, and we're all have an injury.
One of the, I thought one of the key times in the game was when Hillsborough came out, and of course they ran the ball quite a bit, but when they sent the big, I would call him the big fullback, started coming up through the middle, and he got through a couple of times, but then your guys got him stopped and kind of changed the game right there.
In the beginning, we didn't go out committing as many people to the line of scrimmage as we ended up having to do later in the game. So that's where I think Matt made some good adjustments, and they did run the ball down our throat. I don't know how long the drive was. I was looking at the film this morning. I think it was like 15 or 16 plays they had the ball, and several times went for it on fourth down. And I think that was part of their game plan, was to keep the ball away from us and take time off the clock. And if I'm not mistaken, it was about a 7-minute drive that they had in football. So they did a nice job. Second half, we made some adjustments and committed more people to the line of scrimmage, forcing them to try to throw, and it worked out in our favor.
Well, turnovers certainly played a big key in the game as well.
We've had a great season as far as taking the ball away from people. We've been averaging about 4 takeaways a game, and that's always going to win football games for you when you're in that situation. We don't always stop people defensively, but we're very opportunistic, and we're looking for the fumbles, trying to pull the ball out, or interceptions when those opportunities present themselves. So, and no different from last night, we jumped on the ball on the ground and a couple of interceptions.
Certainly did, and a couple of times it led to scoring opportunities.
Field position is what it's all about, and if you get the ball, we always look at it, if we're about midfield or in, then we've got an opportunity to be successful and put points on the board, and that happened for us last night.
You had a couple of key players on offense. Your quarterback and receivers seemed to really be in sync for most of the game.
Dalton Floyd has come from an offense where in the past he's handed the ball off a lot. I think we joked a little bit about the fact that he threw the ball 67 times last year, and we usually do that in 2 games. So he was excited about the fact that he was going to be able to use his arm this year. There's a learning curve. We change things up every week, especially with our formations. We're a very multiple formation team, and Dalton has picked that up and learned the nuances of what we're trying to do with that, and he gets better every week. And we've been pretty blessed to have, we go about 8 deep as far as our receivers. I mean, we've got a first group of receivers, but our second kids get as much playing time as the first, so we're bringing fresh legs out there all the time, and that helps Dalton find kids that are getting open, because several of our first guys play both ways, and then that creates a situation where they get tired and they need to come out. But the fact that we have a second group of receivers that are pretty spry and can go out there and catch the ball too definitely helps us.
And Dalton is not afraid to get out of the pocket and try to create something or make something happen when things sometimes break down a little bit.
I think if you watch Ohio State or the teams with the athletic quarterbacks, you're seeing a predominance of that. where the quarterbacks are not just restricted to being in the pocket. If they want to commit everybody to coverage, then your quarterback's going to have lanes to run in, and Dalton's taken advantage of that during the course of the season. And we are blessed, like I said before, having those receivers, someone like Clyde Snow who can make an adjustment, and really Clyde's the kind of kid that where teams are going to probably have to commit 2 people to him, right. And that creates some great matchups for us.
He had a couple of times right in the corner of the end zone where he was just right there and Dalton was looking for him, and bang, there they were.
They got great chemistry, and that's what comes from working in 7-on-7s. I'm a big believer of throwing the ball during the summer, getting that stuff out of the way, get your coordination so that when you roll into the season, you're ready to go. And you need to work on your running game, with the things where you've got to have the big guys up front coordinated with your running backs. But at the same time, we've been able to even with a late start this summer, we were able to throw a lot, and it's paid off. Dalton has been able to develop that chemistry with Clyde, and it's been looking good so far.
And Dalton's a big kid, too. He can see over that line, and he can see the whole field.
Yeah, he has good vision. He can see what's going on. And for any quarterback, I mean, obviously, if you've got the 5'6" quarterback, you may have to change what you're doing. And I've been in that situation before where we've not been blessed to have the 6'1", 6'2" kid, where we've had a kid that we have to adapt the offense to and make it more user-friendly for them. But, Dalton's height is definitely an advantage for him.
You've still got some young kids that are coming on in the system that the future looks pretty good.
Yeah, we're excited about the kids that are coming up. We've got 3 freshmen that are playing significant amounts of varsity football right now. Anthony Osborne, who's a running back for us, had a couple nice runs last night. We've got Travis Cannell, who's moved into a starting position as a guard. And I mean, here's a young man that's 14 years old and weighs 253 pounds. So we're really excited about the future with Travis. That's what we look at is getting those kids out there if they're able to play and they're not going to get humiliated. You test them by fire, and you know that you're going to have some proven products. You look at Eric Moore, who will take over for Dalton next year. Eric played a lot during 7-on-7. Dalton had some commitments with other sports and some vacations. So Eric filled in very well, and he picked up the offense and moved the team more than adequately. So we're excited about the fact that Eric's been there. We feel that Eric can step in and play if Dalton goes down, and so that's something to look forward to. Our junior class, we have Jesse Livingston caught a couple touchdowns last night. He's coming back. He's also a linebacker for us. My son plays wide receiver / flanker. We use him as a hybrid player, and he's got a lot of ability. Jake Nienover plays the slot for us. I mean, you can go on and on. Jarrett Huff is a senior who wasn't even sure he's going to play, and he's mixed in very nicely. It's tough when you have 8 kids that are pretty close in talent, and to get them to buy into the fact that, hey guys, we don't talk to them about being starters. We talk to them about as everybody's going to play. Whether you might play that first play of the game, you're probably going to play about the same as everybody else, because we try to get a rotation and get fresh legs in there, and it's worked out well for us, especially for the young kids, because they're putting that experience in their pocket. Next year we're going to benefit from that.
Yeah, that can certainly pay off dividends in the next year, next 2 years, however long they've got left. Yep. It can help a lot down the road.
I agree. I mean, we've been able to find some kids on our JV team. Dakota Meyer last night had a great game for us, and Dakota, we weren't quite sure his size. Was he ready to play varsity? On JV, he is probably a little bit above that level, and several weeks into the season, we made the decision that Dakota had to come up and play for us, and did a phenomenal job last night. And I would say, pound for pound, probably our best blitzing linebacker. Just he comes through there with a head of steam and he gets things done. So, that's what we're looking at on defense is we want to change the line of scrimmage. We want to put teams in second and long, third and long, and we need young players like Dakota to step up and help us do that.
There was a lot of times last night, not to change the subject, but a lot of times last night when your defense was able to either get line penetration or seal off a corner and not let Hillsborough get around the corner or get through the line running the ball.
Well, I would say in the first half, did a good job of that, and that was one of our adjustments. As I said, Hillsborough had that long drive, and we weren't getting into the gaps, and we were creating situations because of that. Well, Hillsborough took advantage of us and was able to go down the field. The second half, we turned up the tempo. We came a lot more aggressive with our linebacker play and our D-line. I talked about our receivers. We have a rotation of defensive linemen too, and we bring fresh legs in. And maybe the difference between this year and last year for the East Clinton Astros is the fact that we have some depth and we have more kids, and as well as getting playing time for these kids, you're getting fresh legs on the field.
Well, you're now, of course, you've been a part of the SCOL now, and what's your thoughts on SCOL and SCOL football?
Up with Clinton Massey, defending state champions, that says all you need to know about the league. Anytime your league has a state champion coming out of it, you know that everybody benefits because you have to turn up your game each week if you want to get to that level. And Washington Courthouse, Miami Trace, we've had experiences with both those teams. Unfortunately, not on the winning end of it, but we're seeing the physicality of the league, and those are things that we have to address. I mean, we're going to be who we are, but we also want to be able to run the football effectively like the teams in this league, and we have some work ahead of us to get to that point.
Well, I think as Coach Dye said, SCOL football is getting back to what SCOL football used to be. It's more physical. You've really got to have big, strong kids out there and play hard, physical football.
Well, that all starts in your off-season program, I think. I mean, if you've got kids with good frames anymore, I don't know if this is good or bad necessarily, but anymore it's a pretty much 11-month commitment by the kids. They've got to be in the weight room, because if you're not, you're falling behind teams like Massey and that. And a lot of their kids are involved with the strength lab down there in Wilmington. And, we were efforting during the summer, had great turnout, I thought. For weightlifting, we were getting 25, 30 kids. And they were a lot of younger kids, so the benefits will pay off down the road for those guys. But if you're not going to do that, you're not going to be competitive in this league. And I think everybody who's in this league, every head coach realizes that the work ethic has to match what Massey did if you want to get to where Massey's at.
Yeah. And I think we're seeing some teams that are starting to catch up with Massey, and nothing against Massey, but teams like Chillicothe that gave Massey a pretty good run last night.
Yeah. Chillicothe, we've seen them on tape, and we were really impressed with the aggressiveness. I mean, they come at you, and they're in some places where they might not be as big as the other teams, they definitely bring kids that can run and get to the football. And I've always had a philosophy that you win with speed, and Chillicothe definitely shows that their players can run and get it done. So that's something that you look with Wilmington coming in, they've got similar kinds of players. It's just going to get tougher every year because the teams are just going to continue to get better.
Yeah. So next week, who do you have this coming week?
We have Dayton Meadowdale. We unfortunately at this point don't know a lot about them. There is a scouting system out there called the Huddle, which the majority of high schools in Ohio belong to, and we're able to trade films through the Huddle online, and we have not had that success with Meadowdale. They're not listed on the Huddle as a member, so we've been efforting to try to get some tape on them. We know bits and pieces about them. We know that they have a wide receiver that Michigan's recruiting, and he's been the the guy that's kept them in games. They're 4-3 at this point, so they're having a decent season. And we'll gather information this weekend and get a game plan together and hopefully have a successful effort with them.
Well, we certainly hope so. As a former East Clinton grad, I, of course, wish you the best of luck. We got a couple of East Clinton grads over here. Actually, I interviewed them at halftime at the game last night. They were on the very first East Clinton team.
Were they really?
That's when they practiced out where the parking lot is behind the school. That's where they practiced, and it was all rock, and it wasn't
different nowadays.
Yeah, and played games at Wilmington College, so a lot different back then. But I'm sure that the future is bright for East Clinton high school football, and we wish East Clinton nothing but the best. And of course, once again, a great effort last night. Your kids played well, and we're as a former East Clinton grad, I'm proud of them, and we wish you nothing but the best, Coach. Now enjoy a great lunch.
I will.
All right, thanks. All right, and see, you even get applause from the crowd. How about that? Thanks, Coach. Thanks for all who are tuning in to the show. We are DK here in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. I was hoping I could grab Brian as he came by, but got delicious sandwiches, delicious food, the best fries in the world. I know Molly Taylor, if she's watching in New Zealand, is probably just slobbering. Manuel George in India and Andy Hammer, you need to get up here from Cincinnati, because this is the place to eat on any day of the week. So come on up to the Rusty Keg Tavern here in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. We've still got about 8 or 9 minutes. And Rick, come on over here. Let's talk a little bit about last night's game and about some of the things we'll be doing on GTVR. We've got a few minutes. Rick, first, your thoughts on the game last night. Absolutely. And your thoughts here on the Rusty Keg? It's a nice place.
Very nice, very nice. And of course, I myself have been in the bar and restaurant business and had several places, so I can do some comparative analysis, when it comes to these types of operations. And they've got a first-class operation without a doubt here. Yeah. Beautiful patio.
Out on the sign, it says breaded pork tenderloin sandwich and pumpkin beer. Now, that's a little unusual, but I'm sure that that's very delicious. Have you ever had pumpkin beer?
For the holiday, you might want to try.
But they've got a nice patio out here and TVs, and of course we'll be here on Saturdays at 11 every Saturday. Next week we hope to have the Clinton Massey coach and maybe the Wilmington coach on, so you need to get up here, you need to check this place out. Somebody to find him, we'd like to talk to him about the restaurant here.
He might have left.
He might have.
And I think, obviously, this being our first audio and video broadcast, we'll be working out the kinks, the bugs, so to speak. But these remote broadcasts are a little more challenging than obviously something that we would do in a studio, as far as the controlled circumstances with bandwidth and things like that, since we obviously broadcast over the internet. But here in the coming weeks, that we should be working on our studios. So a lot of the new doors will open, so to speak, as far as the productions that we can do in-house, as well as doing our remotes like this. And we certainly encourage everyone to come down to any of our broadcasts and talk with us and talk with the coaches.
Right.
And certainly remember to tune in this coming week for our regular high school football Game of the Week broadcast.
Right. And that will be that will be Clinton Massey here at Washington Courthouse. And that reminds me, I want to thank our guest today, Corey Dye, the head football coach of the Washington Courthouse Blue Lions, and Coach Bill Raybeck of the folks at East Clinton, at East Clinton High School. So I want to talk to some more SCOL coaches in the coming weeks, as we are going to be back next Saturday at 11 o'clock right here at the Rusty Keg here in Washington Courthouse. 1801 Columbus Avenue in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. And we just encourage you to come up here anytime and enjoy all the food and fun and festivities. They've got a banquet room, they've got the patio, they've got the inside, and just
Well, been good working with you, and tune in again next Saturday for the next coaches show.
all right. From the Rusty Keg Tavern in Washington Courthouse, Ohio, with the SCOL Coaches Show, I'm Lee Hendee for Rick Phillips saying good morning, everybody.